Hi everyone, I'm Autumn Beckman. Welcome to Vlogmas 2023, day 22. Guys, it is a big day. This is the biggest day of Vlogmas. This is the day that you have all been waiting for. This is the day that Paul shares with us his margarita recipe. You guys have been asking about this for a few years. I will warn you up front that the way he does his recipe, they come out very tart, so you may want to add sweetener. It depends on your taste completely, but use the ingredients that he shows you and just figure out the right proportions for you, and you will have the perfect margarita. Quality of the ingredients is very important. The tequila you use is very important. Something you may want to do for fun is make the same margarita, but use a different tequila. Like, Make the whole mix without tequila, and then pour yourself a few small glasses and put different tequilas in each one and see how very, very different they taste based just on that one ingredient changing. Or try all the same ingredients, but then try different orange liqueurs like the Cointreau or the Grand Marnier or a triple sec. See how that changes it. And then you'll be able to figure out through that trial and error which ingredients are your favorite in a margarita, and you will come up with your personal perfect margarita recipe. Enjoy. We've got Paul here. Margarita countdown clock is ticking, and we're about to do his world famous now margarita recipe. Hey Paul, how you doing?
Pretty good. Autumn has made so much about my margarita recipe and how it's world famous. I guess I'm going to have to appear and come across with my recipe, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to try to keep the microphone out of the picture too.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just going to kind of talk a little bit about how I got to this point. It's my favorite drink. Margaritas have always been my favorite drink, and I've been sort of, hello, Baron. Maybe it's his too. Over the years, I've just been sort of perfecting my recipe the way that I like to make them. In my view, a real margarita only has 4 ingredients. It has tequila, it has some sort of orange liqueur like triple sec, or Grand Marnier, or Cointreau, lemon or lime juice. It depends upon how hard it is to get limes where you live. Sometimes I get lemon juice instead because it's easier to find, and it tastes pretty much the same. And the 4th ingredient is some sort of sweetener. Again, I'm kind of a purist, so I use agave nectar, which you can get at a grocery store. I'm going to kind of take you through the way that I make it. And by the way, Gwenny, I understand you don't like margaritas, so I'm going to make a challenge to you. If you make this recipe and you like the margarita, then I will buy some Marmite and I'll eat it on toast. Here we go. The first thing that I do, I get the margarita glasses, I chill them in the freezer. I'm going to take them out and show you what I do with them. So I've been chilling some margarita glasses and getting them nice and cold and chilled for the next step. And I want to put salt around the rims. So what I do is I take some sort of liquid, and I usually just use a clean finger and the lime juice, and I circle around the rim like that and get it wet, and then I bury it in about 1/4 inch of salt, knock off the excess, and then I take my finger and I run it around the inside, because some of that salt even gets on the inside, and that's going to fall down into the drink and be too salty. So that's one, and then here's the other. Finger around the rim with lime juice or anything. You could use the triple sec. You could use the tequila. You could use water. Okay, so taking off the excess salt, I'll put this back in the freezer so that the salt sticks to the glass. Okay, we've got those in there, and then I make the margaritas. So I've got my shaker, and this is my proportion. I use 4 ounces of tequila, and this is making, by the way, this is making 2 drinks. I always make 2 at a time, whether Autumn's here or not.
What tequila are you using today?
This is my go-to tequila. It's Hornitos Reposado.
And for people who don't know about tequila, there are tons of different brands, but then from each different brand, there should be 3 types, I guess, to choose from. What's the word you use? Type?
It depends on how long they've been aged. It's kind of like whiskey. A clear, I forget what the Spanish term is for a clear tequila.
Blanco.
It's been in the cask or whatever they use for a certain period of time, maybe less than a year. And then there's reposado, and you can see that it's darker. It's sort of a amber color. That's been in wood for a longer period of time. It's very much like wine or whiskey. The longer it is exposed to wood, the darker it gets. And then the darkest is añejo, and it's been there for, I forget, it'll be much darker and it has more flavor and so on. So that's something that, again, you can experiment with. I just happen to like this as my go-to. I don't always make it with this, but this is my go-to tequila.
And for me, I tend to prefer an añejo because the Blanco tequilas, which personally I never use, they have a really bright flavor.
Yes.
And the añejos are going to be a deeper flavor, sometimes more smoky, and that's just my personal preference. But you find whatever you prefer.
You say that a lot at restaurants. You'll get an añejo because you like the smokiness to it.
Yeah.
I do too. I do too. So this is 4 ounces of tequila for 2 drinks.
Okay.
And then 3.5 ounces of the orange liqueur. Right now I'm using triple sec. You can use Grand Marnier. You can use Cointreau.
I know you've tried different triple secs. Do you have a favorite? This is De Kuyper's.
I really don't have a favorite triple sec. I like De Kuyper's. I like, I forget the others that I like, but I would just say get a good high quality triple sec. If you're going to a liquor store and ask them for a good quality triple sec. Or you can use Grand Marnier or Cointreau.
For me, my favorite is Cointreau. We have experimented over the years, and that's why I was saying earlier in the video that if you make a batch of margaritas and you want to experiment and try to find the best ingredients for you, to leave one ingredient out or make a few different batches with different ingredients and taste test side by side. Because the difference is if you taste, one today and one tomorrow or one next week, you won't notice it that much. But if you taste them side by side, you're going to taste a pretty big difference a lot of the time.
Right.
And that's how you can really figure out what your favorites are.
And if you do that one evening, you may not be able to get to work the next day. So again, 3.5, this is my particular drink, 3.5 ounces of an orange liqueur for 2 drinks. And then the third the third ingredient is lime or lemon juice, which I sweeten with blue agave. And again, this is a personal taste. I like my margaritas a little bit tart. You could sweeten it more. I just sweeten it to taste. And what I do is I heat up the agave nectar in a very small glass like this, heat it up, and then I pour it into the lime or lemon juice. And that helps it distribute and mixes it real quickly. The third ingredient is 5 ounces. Again, 2 drinks, 5 ounces of a lime juice that's been sweetened with your preferred sweetener. For me, blue agave. Again, I'm a purist, agave sweetener, okay?
And I would interject here that when you're sweetening the lime and lemon juice, the reason that we can't give you proportions for that is because the lime or the lemon juice is always going to taste different.
Yes.
So you have to sweeten it in the moment. You can't go by a recipe with that. Also, I would say one thing that we have learned is Paul usually squeezes fresh limes and lemons, but we recently found usually at nicer grocery stores, a bottle of squeezed lime juice that, was it 100% lime?
Yes.
So if you can find something like that, that also works, and that saves you a lot of the trouble of squeezing all those limes or lemons.
That's where the work comes in making margaritas, is squeezing the lime juice, and then you have to, put it through a strainer so that it comes out thin and doesn't have all the pulp. So again, 4 ounces of tequila, 3.5 ounces of triple sec, 5 ounces of the good stuff, lime juice. And when I started doing this a few years ago, I was really anal about it. I thought that you had to crush the ice, hammer it under a towel and crush it and put it into the shaker. And then suddenly one day I realized, well, look, I'm straining it into the glass. who cares how big the ice chunks are? So I don't even do that any longer. I just use ice cubes. So I'll get some ice cubes, go to the freezer again. And I just throw in, maybe half a dozen ice cubes. I don't want to fill up the shaker too high because otherwise it can't shake around and mix. So there's my ice cubes.
There you go.
Another thing that I've learned, I always do this over the sink. I shake it for about 10 seconds to make sure that it's really freezing cold and it's condensing out here. And this is where I want to cheat, but I can't. I have to give Autumn the same amount that I got.
She will notice.
She'll notice.
Mm-hmm. And notice how he's holding the lid on the shaker. Make sure you hold the lid when you're pouring.
Please do that. And I want to get every last bit of it out.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry it's so noisy. And of course, if you have a lime wedge, you can garnish with that. Mm-hmm. And there we are.
Well, I don't have hands to taste mine, so we're just going to watch Paul taste his. I've got the camera in one hand and the microphone in the other.
I don't often drink margaritas, but when I do, I drink my own.
Well, thank you, Paul, for sharing your top secret and world famous margarita recipe.
I'm glad I could do it. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun.
People have been asking about it for literally years.
Let me know what people think about this, okay? Give me some feedback on this. I might change my recipe. Who knows?
Well, what do you think? Does that look doable for you? Some of his techniques are a little time consuming, but I promise you it is worth it. You will never want to buy another margarita mix again. When you go to a restaurant now and order a margarita, you're going to be asking what ingredients they use. Paul always asks. He never gets a margarita, and I don't either, that has a sour mix. If it has that on the menu, or if the person who's waiting on you tells you that they have a mix, no. They can make you one from scratch, from the ingredients. They usually have the ingredients there, so don't be afraid to ask, because if you're paying for it, you want it to be good. And now, it's Advent calendar time. Let's start with the Spice Advent calendar. We're at day 22. Speculoos spice blend. That sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is. We'll have to Google that. Paul's peppermint bark, day... where is it? 22. A nutcracker. And the Olivier & Co. calendar, day 22. It's an olive oil with thyme. This one must be very expensive since thyme is the most precious resource. And what's happening at the Biltmore? No gingerbread people on top. They've escaped down the steps or the drawers. Where are they? A rope again. Oh, that's nice. All right, well, let's follow it. Follow. Gosh, how far is it? Okay, there's the end. Hello, Roxy and Baron. The end of the rope. Where are they? That's my Henry Bendel tray. Some handmade glass pieces. Some Louis Vuitton books. Flowers. Oh, isn't that nice? They are snooping inside my Louis Vuitton Mini Speedy HL. Wonderful. That's really rude, actually. Really rude. Who wants the first cookie? Baron? Good job. And this guy. I feel like he's the troublemaker, but maybe I'm making that up. Good job, Roxy. Good job, guys. And for the Biltmore, day 22. I never know what to expect from these. Fingers crossed it's diamonds this time. Oh, another peanut. Well, the camera wasn't filming when I gave her the peanut, but there she is eating it. Good job, Vincent. Well, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope you try the recipe and hope you love it. Please, when you do try it, let me know what you think. Leave a comment on this video or whatever video you happen to watch when you finally try it. Hope to see you back here tomorrow for day 23. It'll be a Secret Santa collaboration with me and a big group of my YouTube friends here. And I'm really excited not only to see what I got, but I love seeing what other people get too. So join me for that. I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy Vlogmas.